serious?
It's not on your page. I want it on your page. And if it's not on your page, I'm gonna have to come to your house.
What the fuck ever.
Pretty Brother Killer's review on the Undertale Genocide road.
Fuck you, Sans. You're a bitch.
Fuck you.
Alright. So, let's talk Undertale Genocide route. Now, before we get into this big review, because I'm going to be here for a while talking about my experience, I kind of want to bring up stuff from before that point, before we just immediately jump into when we did this stuff. So, back then, alright, after my true pacifist route of Undertale, like the real ending of Undertale, when I came back to the game, kind of had a redemption arc, you know, we did the what's it called, we did the true pacifist, and I was like, okay, that's the real ending of Undertale. I don't have to play this game ever again. And I even said in that video, the gameplay video, and I think even in the review video, I said, dude, I don't ever want to touch Genocide route because I know what happens to people when they touch the Genocide route, right? And it's true, I still know what happens when people touch the Genocide route, you know. I especially know now because I personally experienced it, but before I just knew because of word, because it's a legend amongst Undertale fans or whatever, you know, how horrendous it was, you know. I've obviously heard the stories, but anyway, so after, when I made that video and whatever, a while of no Undertale went by, you know, and I was just living my life. I was doing my things, I was uploading all the time, all that stuff, right? And I was just chilling, I was just doing the, hey, I just want to say thank you for telling me about Rayman Legends. It's one of my favorite games, and just love it again. Thank you so much, you're awesome. No problem, Cam Jam, I'm always here to help. Get people into some video games, and all that other sort of stuff. But, anyways, so a long while later, I want to do a time jump a little bit after my initial True Pacifist ending video and then the re-experience with Undertale video. A long while, that ended, and then I got into Deltarune. And after I got into Deltarune and played chapters 1 and 2, and then after a long while after that, we played 3 and 4. And after playing, like, chapter 4 Deltarune, like, for some reason, because I played that chapter, it got this weird, like, spark in me that I want to, like, while chapter 5 is cooking up, you know, in the oven for Deltarune, I want to go back and experience something that is from the Undertale Deltarune franchise. Do something with that, right? I want to do, like, the Genocide route, because, I don't know, it feels like, I mean, yes, I could have just done Deltarune chapter 4, chapter 1 and 2, like, maybe in a different way or a different lens instead of doing the Genocide route, but my brain was kind of, like, leading me on a little bit, telling me, you know what, maybe you should do the Genocide route, and you know, for that little bit, I even made a like, fucking, like, voting poll, like, hey, should I do Genocide route? And I was going to do it, like, way earlier than that, but what ended up happening was I ended up doing, like, Undertale, but hard mode, which is, like, not even a full playthrough. It's like a fucking small little mini playthrough, and I played, like, Genocide route completely wrong. And after that, I realized maybe I shouldn't be doing this in the first place, right? And I kind of backed off, held off from it, even deleted the poll saying, you know what, that's not a canon event. We're just going to pretend that's filler and move on with my life by doing other things, right? And usually when something, like, kind of sticks with me in my mind, it doesn't really necessarily go away until, like, either a very long time later or I just genuinely let go of the thought, right? But usually there are some thoughts that doesn't really get let go. And, you know, while I was doing my Sonic Unleashed, you know, for the Wii videos and all those other videos I've been doing, just Undertale just kept popping up in my head. And, you know, I started listening to Magnavania, you know, the theme for the Sans fight or whatever, when you fight them in the Genocide route, all that stuff, right? And when I was listening to that, I don't know, the idea just kind of sparked in my head again. Let's do Genocide route for Undertale. And it's only fair we do a genocide route for Undertale, since I've already done, you know, neutral, pacifist, which is the real deal, and then now it's Genesis, or not Genesis, genocide route, not Genesis route, genocide route, okay? It's only fair that I do this route, right? And I don't know why, but like I decided to change my profile picture to Sans. It still is Sans, to represent like this era of my life. Like, hey, we're back in Undertale, to kind of show y'all that I'm back. You know, I want to change my PFP. I also gave us another community tab poll saying, hey, when my brother goes to work later, since this idea is not getting out of my head, what ended up happening, right? What ended up happening is Louis went to work, or he waited to work. Undying, the Undying was bad, but Sans absolute. We'll get there. Hey, a study conducted in University of Cambridge 1984 demonstrated that genes related to intelligence are passed down through material line, which races currently scored lowest on IQ test. Last time I saw you, almost burned your house down with a fridge and extension cord in your room. That was a while ago when I had that little incident. But that was not my fault, like I explained in that. It just randomly happened one night. But anyways, back to the review, right, of Undertale. So, yeah, as you guys know, I changed up my PFP. I decided to, you know, after Lou went to work, I decided to finally get on, boot it up, stop being scared of it, or just avoiding it. Why don't we just accept it and just do it, right? And now we move on to yesterday. Is that your friend who you're sharing a bed with? No, that is my brother. We live in a small apartment with not a whole lot of space, so we have to share a bed, for your information. Anyways. Being absolutely rude. But anyways. So, we move on, right? Once I started my Undertale Genocide route playthrough, I keep saying Genesis, I don't know why, but I keep saying Genesis, and I don't really approve, you know, of, fuck, now I'm like, my mind is getting all, not foggy, but I'm starting to get, like, upset, you know. But, anyways, so, I decided to go on, and I also had, like, I think a guide on the side, but also I had, like, Lucas and plenty of other people in chat during this time telling me how to do the genocide route properly this time. And how you do it is you go through all the areas of the game, and you make sure you basically allow all monsters to spawn. And what I mean by this is you go in the area, you spin in circles, or you go to certain rooms, no save point rooms, no boss battle rooms, just minus those two rooms. You go to each room, you spin around, and you wait for enemies to spawn, and then you kill them over and over and over again. I ain't gonna lie, when I heard that the Genesis route, the whole process of the game is basically just this and 2 actual boss fights, I was sitting there wondering, this experience already kind of fucking sucks, because while I'm trying to rotate using my D-pad and all that other sort of stuff to constantly allow monsters to spawn and shit, my fingers are already hurting. I'm already dreading the process of going to the ruins, Snowden, Hotlands, the core, and just redoing that same process over and over again on different enemies. Also having to kill, like, and I have to kill every single monster, and then that also includes, like, certain characters for a murder check, or a kill check or whatever, right? Because in game they have, like, a murder/kill check, right? Where basically, you know, you gotta defeat these certain guys to check your murder level, because since this is genocide route, it's all about you murking people, so if you fuck up by not killing a certain enemy, or you fuck up by not killing all the enemies and whatnot, your genocide route will stop and you'll be forced back on the neutral route path. And I remember during all of this, I was asking chat constantly to, hey, am I fucking up? Am I ruining my progression? Yeah, what? Relatable, I don't even know how to respond to that. I'm going to be so honest. But I remember I was like constantly asking, like I said, like, am I doing the route right? You know, am I doing it right? Am I making any sort of mistakes? Because if I F up on Genocide route, you know, I'm not going to do this route ever again. You know, if I mess up and then accidentally go into neutral route, which did not happen, okay? I actually made it through most of Genocide route, right? And I would probably argue, like, my first stopping point, other than, like, my fingers hurting really bad after going to each location or most locations, you know, spinning the D-pad around, waiting to go in and out of rooms just for enemies and monsters to spawn, make sure I kill all freaking 10, 20 monsters or 15 monsters in ruins. I think it was like 20, maybe 16 in Snowden. I think in the place after that, the water area, I think it was like 20-ish enemies. And then it was in a Hotland and Core, it was like 40 enemies and stuff. But after doing all of that, my first real hurdle, I would say in Undertale's Genocide route, was easily by a quarter mile. Hold on, let me pull her up. I think, yeah, I gotta remember my own fucking footage. I gotta remember it. My own worst nightmare. And this was like the first boss, right? The first real boss of Genocide. And it's on my thumbnail of part 1. Because I did most of Genocide route in my first stream of Genocide route. Alright. Okay, so I'm gonna unpause this.
Damn it.
Okay, I'm gonna show y'all what I'm talking about really quick. So, Undyne. This bitch. Okay, this is Hero Undyne. This is like Undyne when she's at her most powerful, since you slayed so many monsters at this point. She's gonna be the hero that tries to stop you. Right? Or one of them, actually. Just one of them. 1 out of 2. This is like the first real boss, right? And I remember I was sitting here for like over 2 to 3 hours struggling against her. Because keep in mind, she has like that arrow bullshit technique where arrows keep flying across the screen and you have to like block the projectile with that blue little line you guys saw for a split second on the screen. And you have to like rotate that little shield to whatever side the arrows are going to, right? And I ain't gonna lie, like randomly in the middle of this, like this boss fight, right? After I think it was like 2-3 tries, like everything about me felt off. Like everything. I mean, like, I don't know why, but my chest was hurting really bad. My fucking stomach was hurting really bad just trying to attempt this stuff. And I just remember, like, mid-boss fight here, all I wanted to do after, like, dying, like, a couple times was just kind of, like, for some reason, I was in my chair like this, right? I'm going to show y'all. Since y'all didn't really get this perspective while watching the gameplays, right, of my Undertale / Undertale Genocide Raw videos. I was just sitting in my chair like this, and I'm like, bro, why does it feel like I'm falling, even though I'm literally in my chair? Like, I feel like I'm floating on a fucking cloud. And then it got so bad after that a little bit, like, the pain was not going away from, like, my chest and my stomach at that time, that it only felt good to, like, lay down right here, right? It only, like, I'm so serious. Like, my anxiety / I don't know what the hell that was. I can't even explain what the hell that was, but it only felt good to lay on the ground. And I remember after that, I did get up and continue making attempts and stuff, but I took a fat minute sitting on that fucking ground, just not debating with my life, but just trying to calm myself down, right? Because I noticed going through this Genocide route that, my anxiety shot through the roof. Probably worse than a lot of things I'm used to dealing with in terms of my stress level. Because, I won't lie, Undyne in her entire boss fight, or Undying, however you want to call it, she stressed me out really bad. Not only the arrow moves, but trying to figure her out and even just trying to beat her was way too much for me. I remember I was just like, I'm in over my fucking head trying to do this, you know, and I was going to give up. You know, I was going to stop right here. I felt like after Undying, that was like my final boss in Undertale. I didn't want to go through more of this. You know, originally I was going to end it after Undying in part 1. You know, I was going to end it. I was going to be like, yep, I'm done. I'm going to close off. I'll see you guys whenever I feel comfortable coming back. But then, you know, the stream kept going because I think somebody... It was either I just felt like I wanted to keep going deep down, or it was like, nah, B, you're going to be... Just don't even worry about it, right? And I was like, okay, I won't worry about it. You know? And after, again, I defeated Undyne after many tries, you know, of beating her. I did, you know, defeat all the monsters in the last area. Defeated, what's-his-face immediately, very quickly. And, you know, Flowey was talking to me, all this other sort of stuff. It's whatever, who cares? And this is where the real problem, I would say, lies. Because, obviously, everyone knows the second to final boss, the real deal. I think it was 4 hours into my stream at this time. It was 4 hours, 17 minutes. I finally made it here, right? Gonna unpause, mute my stream. And it was right here where all the problems started beginning. Right? So I'm checking my items, I'm scared shitless, I'm reading the dialogue, and it's Sans. I don't even know how to begin to describe Sans. Right? So I finally make it to Sans. And keep in mind, a big reason why I decided to play this was because, you know, the idea of fighting Sans was very fucking cool to me. I remember a big thing I forgot to mention in the beginning of this review was Sans himself. He was a big reason why I wanted to do Genocide route. I wanted to see what I could do against him. I wanted to see... Because I don't know, Sans just interests me, right? Like every other player when they first fought Sans, right? He interests me. He gravitated towards us throughout our first playthrough of Undertale. So it's like, of course, you're going to gravitate towards him when you find out he has a boss fight, right? And obviously, I knew it was going to be pretty damn difficult, right? Going into it. But a part of me, like, realized some way in, keep in mind, 4 hours, 19 minutes. I spend over an hour on this Sans fight in my first video. Right? Then my second video on Genocide Route Undertale was a whole 2 hours, 39 minutes of more attempts. And I'm not going to show you the footage because I'm going to let the gameplay speak for themselves, right? So I spend like over an hour in my first video against Sans. I spent an extra 2 hours, 39 minutes, 53 seconds doing Sans all over again. And then after that, I spend a whole 5 more hours doing Sans on top of that. So that's, keep in mind, right? That's 1 hour plus. That's, you know, not 1 hour. Well, yeah, 1 hour plus. So 1 hour longer. Then I spent a whole other 239, which could possibly be like 4 to 5 hours already right there with Sans. And then we have 1, 2, 3, Sans again with another 5 hours 30. I spent over hours dealing with, and I was losing my goddamn mind. I'm not even gonna lie. I was losing my shit because the fight itself, I'm gonna show you the fight itself, right? Now, the reason I'm losing my mind against Sans, here, we're gonna show you. Sans Genocide Route full boss fight. Okay. So, it's about 14-ish minutes for a lot of people, but some people can beat it in 5 to 6 if they're really good, right? So, you're over here doing your route. You're looking. Now, I just want to show you the whole fight. No interruptions. Let me show you how it starts. This is how it starts every time. So, you're sitting there wondering to yourself, okay, this isn't that bad, right? You know, I don't mind it, right? Oh, my bad. I keep talking. I was going to show you this fight uninterrupted, but here I am. Uh, Sorry, I need to talk, actually, during this. I don't want it just being, footage I use in the background, but basically I remember my first couple attempts was struggling through phase 1 of Sans, because this is phase 1. I really hate how this is phase 1. It takes so many hits to dodge, for him to dodge, because he dodges every hit you throw at him, because his powers allow him to dodge, even though he's really weak physically and all that other sort of stuff, right? But it's a whole thing, right? Really a whole thing here. And he has all these moves. And this is just all phase 1, by the way, right, of his fight. And keep in mind, right, he's going to be like, he's going to try to get you, you know, into phase where you try to, he's going to ask to spare you after a while doing phase 1. You go into phase 2. They want you to, like, Toby Fox, when he made this, he wants you to live through all of this, right? These speedy attacks, like, it felt like, I don't know what the fuck, all these different moves over and over again. And, you know, having the bones, like, berate your side view and then little bones coming up from down there. I remember just watching this, because keep in mind, Sans cheats the system. He doesn't fight you fair and square. He fights you cheating. He uses his tricks up his sleeves to get you killed, to get you frustrated, to make you die, right? You know, a lot of people say it's genius game design. Me, I'm just like, holy fuck, right? But anyway, so we're just going to skip through because you get it, right? And they want you to deal with all of this. I'm just going to say all of this stuff. It is so bad, in my opinion. They want you to do this in one life, basically, right? You have a run that gets you this far. And I remember being somewhat close. I remember I died at an earlier bit in this, like, at that bone, multiple bone joint. I died right there, right? And this is the end of it, right? I am sorry. Like, that's where it broke me. Fighting Sans multiple times, like, trying to get to that point, that little ending bit in his fight, over 10 minutes of that. You're telling me that I have to live for over 10 minutes against Sans. Try your best not to take damage. Try your best to survive from his entire onslaught of attacks. Everything like that. I broke. The amount of times during that Sans boss fight alone, I walked out. I had to walk out. I had to get fresh air. I had to think of strategies. Oh, and you want to know something? What makes me, like, beating Sans even worse than just him attacking me, dying through his phase 1, phase 2 multiple times? The fucking community of Undertale is really what ruined, I think, Sans for me as a boss fight, right? And also pretty demotivated to continue doing. And I say this because literally throughout all of those Undertale videos, right? Part one of Genocide was not all that bad until near the end, like I said, dealing with Sans, right? Like, near end of part 1, like the last hour or so into it, part 2, part 3, and except for my final part, part 4, the Alan ending part, right? For the next 3 videos, I was getting nothing but Sans' easy mode, bro. Sans is easy. I beat him first try. I actually got on the game, did an attempt, and beat him my first try, bro. Get good. You're a scrub. You're a loser. Everything under the sun from the Undertale community, right? Basically bashing my attempts. Saying that you got a massive skill issue. You know, I'm surprised you didn't do this in your first try. Sans is the easiest monster. Look at his shit. Check him out, right? I'm sitting there after all that, right? Taking all this abuse from, or not verbal abuse, but taking all this criticism mixed with bashing my shit. Kind of made me toxic, in a way. Because not only the way they were responding to me, but the way I was responding back to them. Because I wasn't necessarily mad at them. It was trying to do Sans' entire boss fight while all that was going on in the background. That's something that was pissing me off a lot because they were saying all those things, right? And I know it's one thing to just, you know, hey, just ignore them. Let them be them. Let them say what they say. But try having that on your dick while dealing with one of the hardest fights, if not the hardest fight in all of Undertale, on your dick. Like, no, I'm not dealing with that. And there were some people that were like, well, more than some, a few people were being quite rude. There were some people during my time against Sans that were actually genuinely trying to be nice. But there were so many people during that were just rude, disrespectful, didn't understand where the fuck I was coming from. They were thinking I did this 20 times over or some shit. Even though it was my first time doing Genocide route. And then Undertale fans wonder why nobody likes playing their game on stream or on camera for the most part. Because they're just going to get bashed and bullied by the community that should be rising them, that should be telling them, hey, don't give up on this, stay determined. But yet, people only want to come and tell you all this toxic and negative shit. And I remember after so much abuse from Sans himself in the comments, I was just sick and tired of this fight. And all this happened yesterday. Not even 24 hours into dealing with Sans, I wanted nothing more of him. The idea of fighting Sans was fun, but then actually sitting there and doing it was one of the worst gaming experiences I ever had in my up to this point, right? It was easily the most stressed out I have been on a video game in a long time. And you guys know me with stress. I don't deal with stress very well. I don't deal with none of that shit well. So the fact that I started stressing out again over Undertale, shit, I think I might be losing hair. But my point is, right, is I'm so stressed out by Sans. The comments, the people in my comments. I was even getting toxic at people that weren't even doing much of anything. You know what I'm saying? And it started to get really, really bad. And keep in mind, right, I try my best not to do that anymore. But Sans was really making me do things that I didn't think was still within me. Just keep in mind, I'm on a journey to rebellish and get away from that anger. Get away from it all. You know, just chill out, have a good time, relax, have fun, right? But with Undertale's Genocide route Sans fight, I just cannot do that for my life. It's like I've become, like I said, that other half of me that's lying dormant, all right, during all this shit. And after a long time of just trying to deal with Sans, and like I mentioned before, I said, screw it, man. I can't do Sans. I legit can't do it. The fight is way too long. It's way too stress-inducing. And I get it. That's the whole point of Sans. He's supposed to trick you. He's supposed to mind fuck you. He's supposed to do all these things. He was designed to be that way. I don't give a fuck, right? I don't know. In my opinion, I feel like, I don't know, if you want me to enjoy something, I need to enjoy the process of going through it. You know, and Sans was nothing like that. Like, for me, nothing. There was not a single lick of enjoyment to be had. other than the kick-ass music that you hear during the boss fight. That's the only thing that was keeping me there for a long time, was that fucking music. Because obviously I know it's fucking good. It's really good. It's addicting. You can listen to that shit without fighting Sans, and that shit can encourage you or inspire you to do something, which is, again, what inspired me to do this route. So, after a while, I said, I'm done trying to do the full Sans fight in one sitting. I can't, I'm sorry. But I'm not going to sit here and practice Sans for 20 hours, 30 hours, and then do one attempt of Sans and then beat him. I'm sorry, but I don't like going through that level of stress for a fucking video game anymore. I really don't. And I'm not gonna lie, during Sans, I was getting reminded, I was getting fucking images of my fucking past. Alright, I used to, because back then, I would stick my neck out for a lot of these fucking games. Right? I would sit there and deal with the stress. I would sit there, like, Crash Bandicoot is one of the greatest examples of me sitting through the bullshit. Sitting through that stress. Sitting through multiple sessions. Sweating. Stressing out. I remember Sans making my arm and leg shake through, adrenaline rushes. I remember walking to the showers during my days of Crash Bandicoot 4, just full of adrenaline, all running through the whole course of my fucking body. Multiple times after sessions of Crash 4. And that was off stream. I didn't show that bit on stream, except for like maybe one time. But you get that. I didn't want to go through none of that again. I really, and I mean I strongly dislike that feeling. Strongly. And I know a lot of people out there, they're going to be like, oh, I like challenge. I like dealing with challenge. I like the stress. I don't. I am the polar opposite. If something is easy, I'm taking that route, right? And obviously, not everything is going to be easy in life, all right? Of course, I know that. But if I can avoid the stress, I will avoid it. I don't care if I take the easy way out or don't get all the glory points for something. I don't give a fuck. If it makes the fight easier, I will do it. And I remember I spent minutes, countless minutes, trying to tell people, yeah, I think looking up a video is definitely going to help me beat Sans. It didn't. The only thing that helped me try to even fight through Sans at this point was my own experience and some good viewers, like Lucas, Aaron, and quite a few others telling me not to give up, not to stop, not to keep pushing, keep going, right? That shit also helped me too. I want to clarify and also thank y'all for that, even though I didn't really do that in my other Undertale streams, right? Or in those streams at that said time, I didn't do that, right? But thank you for what y'all did anyway, right? But at the end of the day, right? I just could not do it. I could not beat Sans. And I remember after that, I said, you know what? I'm done, trying to fight Sans all in one thing, after all that. But I'm fucking done. I can't deal with it. And the stress and the anxiety, I still remember trying to look up videos like people were telling me to do. I remember trying to get items to help my invincibility frames. I remember just spending multiple minutes in those live streams just trying to find strats, trying to figure out stuff. Nothing was working. It was just nothing. It felt hopeless. And I just said, you know what? I'm done dealing with Sans. I went out way too many times yesterday during Sans. Fuck, I even left stream last night on top of that because of Sans and everything he was doing to me. To the point I just decided to do this, which I'm going to show off in this video. Here, let me show you the final bit of Sans where I'm done. I want to show y'all this. Okay? I said I'm done dealing with Sans. Fully. I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. So what I decided to do is I decided to fight Sans again. But I decided to do it on my mobile device. this website is called a Bad Time Simulator. Basically, it is a simulation of the Sans fight that everybody tells you to go and practice, right? When you want to beat Sans, like, you can do select moves, like certain moves and all that other sort of shit. I use this just to be like, you know what? I'm just going to practice the last bit of the fight instead of practicing all of it. I cannot do it all in one sitting. It burns me out way too quick. I don't have the fucking... And people might be saying to me, well, Alan, that just means you don't have the skill to do the full fight. Fuck it. Whatever you want, go ahead and say it. I don't give a fuck, right? And by going into this fight using the Bad Time Simulator... right, just the last bit, I said, I just can't practice the whole thing anymore. I'm done. I'm going to let Louis be on the PlayStation, uninstalled Undertale from my PlayStation. I'm never touching that again, by the way. I sat down over here in my closet, no door. Louis was just over here enjoying himself. I was over there suffering for a little bit longer. All that other sort of stuff, right? Just suffering in the closet a little bit, dealing with this final wave bullshit. And I remember, I think I did it, actually, in this stream. I actually managed to pull it off. I can't remember where it was at. I think it was right here. Oh, nope, it wasn't. It was like... Fuck, I can't even remember.
Hey, what the... Yeah, that's all the... What the... Fuck. I got robbed.
But yeah.
I wonder if they show... it too, where Sans gets hit and everything, they show the ending. Like, they just show Sans getting hit.
Down here. Yeah, I died right here in the bones. That's where I died. That was the first I ever got in this fight.
Even if it doesn't...
And it only happened once. Never made it there again.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Ah! Oh my fucking god!
And what ends up happening after that was, you know, Sans supposed to go to sleep, but since it's a simulator, he decides to kill you, and then you do it all over again. And after that, I remember I said, I don't care. I fucking beat him, or we're just gonna call it a stalemate, you know? And I'm just gonna dip. Good fucking bye, Sans. I am never doing this again, right? And then I showed the ending off in that video and all that other sort of stuff, and I talked for a little bit, and that ended my Undertale Genocide route forever. I am never coming back to deal with Undertale shit again. And I think after this, like, I'll put up with Deltarune and stuff, but I am never coming back to Undertale. That is final. You know? Because I am not going through that level of stress for a while ever again. And I am sick and tired of going through that. And you know, one thing I want to add was somebody low-key in my stream told me, hey, why don't you go to anger management classes? And I don't remember your name, but I do remember what you said. Why don't you go to anger management classes, and after you settle down with your anger buddy, you come back and do this fight? How about that? And you know what I told them? I told them this. I said this. This one thing. I said this. You know what's funny? I have people just like you telling me that on other video games I play. That same type of energy, that same type of mentality that I am very sick of. You don't fucking know me outside of this. You don't. Because let me tell you something, mister. My anger, my rage, all that stuff, it comes out the worst when I'm doing this. But as soon as that game's turned off, as soon as I walk away, as soon as I'm fucking laying in my bed, chilling, alright? Or I'm outside going on a walk, guess what? I'm probably the happiest person you have ever fucking seen in your entire fucking life. Alright? So don't tell me, oh, get a grip of your anger. Because I have a grip on it. Okay? It's just when I play video games, certain video games especially, bring it out more than others. If it wasn't for toxic pieces of shit like you in my Undertale streams, I probably would have been a little less angry. But no, I have to deal with people like you all the time. And that's what I said to them. And that's what really stuck with me, right? I understood two things. Sans is really on that bullshit. And the Undertale / Deltarune community is extremely toxic. And I understand, I already understood from before this, but I just want to really lay it into y'all that the Undertale community and Deltarune community are extremely fucking rude. Rude individuals that I almost want no part in. I almost don't want to say I'm a part of the community. I almost just want to say, hey, I love the game and the game itself. The community, what even is that after what I went through, personally speaking? And I shouldn't go in like that, but that's honestly how I'm about to come out. Is I love the game, but I really hate the community. And this is the weird part, is after I beat Sans, you know, through the bad time simulator over there in the closet at this period of time. I don't know if I'll ever go back and do it. Well, I mean, I already know I'm bad it, but you get it. Anyways, after all that, I just became weirdly obsessed with, like, Undertale. After, like, me and Sans had our little draw match, or a little stalemate match, and went up in dips, right? I remember for hours, I was just watching tons of Undertale comics. Like, I became more invested into Undertale just in general, like, overall, for some reason. I was watching tons of comic dubs. I even started watching, like, Undertale if it was realistic from Smash Bits. It was weird. I just became way more attached to it. You know, way more, not obsessed, but just more attached to it. I started listening to Magnavania, like just the regular OST, and it was the weirdest shit. And I thought it was weird, but I was like, damn, I'm strangely even more into Undertale now than I was before. And I find that fucking strange, right? So after last night, which was still the night I fucked with Sans over there on Bad Time Simulator, the next morning happens, right? And I'm over here, I'm waking up multiple times throughout the night. One time I woke up at like 1 in the morning, put my tablet on the charger because I realized I fell asleep watching YouTube. I'm doing that a lot more now. But anyways, other than that, right? I'm fucking waking up, I think, after that 1 o'clock incident, 6 in the morning. I get on PlayStation, and keep in mind, I'm offline, because I don't want anyone to really bother me. But I'm on PlayStation. I'm really starting to take my own time a little bit more seriously now, too. That trying my best just to be completely by myself. Well, not trying my best. It just happens. I don't know why, but I'm starting to really want to be more alone as of late. But like I said, right? I get on PlayStation, I reinstall Undertale, I do a few more attempts on Sans, and none of them prevailed, you know? And I said, you know what? I tried. Even at my absolute calmest, I just couldn't do it. Matter of fact, I would arguably say when I woke up this morning to try and do it, you know, off camera and shit, off camera, you know, off the kicker and stuff. I died phase 1. I couldn't even get through like 3 to 4 moves anymore. And I think after that showed me that, yeah, I'm just not in it anymore. I'm not in it doing this fight. And I wonder if anybody else has ever felt this way when they did Genocide Route. And, for those who have beat Sans, good for you. I'm proud of you. Good job, yeah. Happy trails, Undertale fans. I don't think I'm going to be playing your game no more. Maybe not. I don't know. I was interested in Undertale Yellow. Maybe I might play that on the channel, Undertale Yellow. That might come. I don't know. But, because since I'm more ridiculously into it now, so, I don't know. But, yeah, that's honestly my painful and really hate-filled experience with Undertale. And most of my hate was because of fucking Sans just doing it. The act itself of doing the fight over and over and dying in between phase 1 and phase 2 all the time was really fucking annoying. And I said, bro, you can take some of these bits out for me personally, and I'm still finding it the hardest fight in all of Undertale. Dead the fuck ass. But it's whatever. It's done. It's over with. Never touching it again. I don't want to go through something like that again. And if I do in the future, I'm just going to know just to turn it off. Or just be done with it. Don't even put up with it for a long time. Because at the end of the day, so much of my day yesterday was wasted on just doing Sans in general. When I could have had, I did have a good rest of my day after the fact, but it's still time wasted in my opinion. And I don't know what you guys think of my review on Genocide Route, but am I back to hating Undertale again after, experiencing the true pacifist ending, the real ending of Undertale? No, I don't hate Undertale. It just put me through a really bad time again, and I wasn't expecting anything different. Anyways, guys, that's my review for Undertale. Probably going to be my only thing I do today. I'm not sure if I'm going to do anything with Ronnie or anybody else, but I'm just going to dip and call it a day. Like, comment, subscribe, favorite, share with your friends. Thank you for watching, and I don't know how I want to end this video, other than maybe just... I don't know. Maybe, I actually don't know how to end this. Legit, I don't know how to end this video. Maybe I'd, kinda... I am the best character of all of Undertale. Suck on these.